Hello everybody, it's Jackie Felix here, and today we'll be going through a relatively long and detailed video in relation to a 2019 history guide focused for wizards, but also applicable to other classes as well. And yeah, after the recent Witch and Wizard pass for PvE and PvP, both classes are definitely very viable in Hystria and Akman, even at the lower gear levels. So yeah, some of the topics we'll be covering today include the various rotations in Hystria. So this includes 5 Elten, side rotation, Elten rotation, and main rotation. And I'll be going through each of the rotations in the video, and I'll have timestamps in the description down below. In addition to that, we'll also be talking about the various loot you can obtain inside Hystria, and also the expected money per hour, which will be mainly focused on with loot scroll. In addition to that, we'll also be going through stuff like the recommended gear to grind Hystria as a wizard or witch, how the etiquette in Hystria works, since Hystria is a relatively busy grind area, especially on the weekends, and how to get as much grinding done with creating too much drama. We'll be also going through the skill rotation I typically use in Hystria, as well as going through some general advice and tips and tricks inside Hystria. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and as always, if you have any questions or concerns that aren't answered in the video, feel free to join the Discord or hit me up on Twitch where I'm streaming live. Links, as always, are in the description down below. So yeah guys, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something useful. So let's start off talking about the various rotations in Hystria. Now the first rotation we'll talk about, which is 5 Elten, and as you can see it is the current rotation I'm doing the video. Now this rotation combines both the main rotation and the side rotation, which means you'll be taking up 2 rotations, and this might be hard to hold down, especially with dual foot spots. Now this rotation usually yields the highest trash per hour, and basically for the highest geared players, they would typically be doing this rotation if they are over clearing main or side rotation by themselves. Now the next rotation to talk about is the side rotation. This was a new rotation that was added into Hystria. Now I'll recommend this rotation for beginners who just entered Hystria and don't know how to pull that well, or don't have that much AP or can't clear that fast. And yeah, this rotation is usually less contested than the main rotation unless you have someone doing the 5 Elten as well. So after the side rotation, the third rotation I'll do is the Elten rotation. The Elten rotation is definitely one of the most complex rotations in Hystria. It requires a lot of knowledge in terms of how to pull the mobs correctly, and it also yields the lowest trash per hour out of the 4 rotations. Now, the thing that draws people into the Elten rotation is the fact that it's hardly contested at all. It's usually extremely quiet, and also if people are going for the last compass piece, which is the Elten compass piece, they'll usually try to farm this rotation. This rotation also has a higher density of the rare mobs such as Vulcans, Tenkos, Kokishas, Eltens, which can drop stuff like the Black Shards and the Tongue Rednecks. Now the last rotation we'll talk about, which is the main rotation. This is usually the most well-known rotation and the most contested rotation in Hystria. Now this rotation has a high chance in black shards due to the high density of Kalquishas in this rotation. Alright, so now I guess we can quickly talk about the trash per hour you can expect to make in each rotation. Now these numbers are with loot scroll. If you wanted to know the numbers without loot scroll, what you need to do is basically take the number and divide it by 1.3. If you want the exact percentage increase of trash loot in Hystria with loot scroll, I believe it's around 28.5%. So yeah, just going over the numbers quickly, for the 5 Elten rotation, I usually make between 3.6 to 3.7k trash an hour. For the side rotation, I make between 3.1 to 3.2k trash an hour. For the Elten rotation, I make between 2.6 to 2.8k trash an hour. And for the main rotation, I'll make between 3.4 to 3.5k trash an hour. Now, my gear as of currently is 271, 270 Kudum for pen Kudum, so just take that into mind when you're comparing your trash loot numbers with mine. Now, I just want to quickly also talk about the CC inside Hystria. Now, the mobs are not like Akman where you can knock them down and apply a down attack bonus on the mobs. In Hystria, the only CCs that can affect the mobs are basically stuns and stiffens, so just be aware of that when you are pulling and DPSing down the mobs. So yeah, next we can talk about the money per hour you can be expected to make at Hystria, especially with some gear. Now just to start off with, we'll go through some of the basics. Each of the trash loot in Hystria is worth 15k each. And the other items that can be dropped in Hystria include the scrolls in ancient language, black magic crystals, black shards and red shards, Tungrad necks, and also compass parts and map pieces. So basically both of those are the temporary compass and map pieces. Now Hystria does also drop the Elten and Vodkan compass piece, with the Elten piece being a lot rarer than the Vodkan piece. Now, the mobs that drop the Black Shard in Hystria, they include the Kalquishas and Tankos, whereas for the Tungra necks, the mobs that drop those are the Tankos, Eltens, and Vodkans, and the Red Shards, basically the Vodkans and the Eltens. Now I can talk quickly about the money power in Hystria. Now, generally, I would say I make around about 150 mil an hour in Hystria. Now, if you're unlucky and don't obtain any Black Shards or Tungrad necks, then the projected money power for me would more be around 70 to 80 mil an hour. But these money power can fluctuate quite significantly due to the pricing of the central marketplace. So yeah, now we can quickly talk about the recommended gear for Hystria in terms of Wizard and Witch. I wouldn't recommend you come to Hystria with less than 261 AP with a Tech Kudum, and at least around about 300 DP or soft cap DP, because the mobs down here do hit relatively hard. I would say they hit a little bit harder than Akman, depending how many times you get CC'd. And for your Kudum, what I recommend is either 2 crit crystals or 1 crit crystal and 1 back attack crystal. You can also put the 2 new crit crystals in that you obtain from grinding Star's End if you have them. And yeah, so the next topic we can talk about is the skill rotation I use in Hystria on my wizard. So generally when I'm pulling in a pack and I'm waiting for them to group up, I'll lay down first my lava pool, then my red orb, and then as they're grouping up, I'll usually cast a Bolt of Destruction into a Cataclysm, and after they group up, I'll chuck out a Aqua Gel, and then once they're all CC'd, I'll position myself for the back attack and start off with a Hellfire to get that sweet AP buff, and then go into MMA, Dagger Stab cancel, into Rebam cancel, and then into Fireball Explosion, and finish off with Water Sphere into Flow. Now, it's quite important that you put the debuff on the Hystria mobs from the Aqua Gel, the minus 15% evasion, because the Hystria mobs do have relatively high evasion, so it will affect your DPS quite significantly if you don't debuff them at the start. Alright, so now we can quickly go over the Hystria etiquette, and I'm doing this especially for the newer players that are entering Hystria, just so you're aware of what can happen and how to just be respectful about people and players around you, so that you can maximize the amount of time spent grinding and minimize the amount of time spent PvPing or griefing other players. So basically, Hystria is usually extremely busy, especially around the weekend times or when people are off work or around the school holidays. So finding an open rotation, especially for main, can be relatively difficult, especially during peak times. Now, from my experience, the best way to go about this is if you just ask for a quick duel for spot in Ballerina, best out of 3, and whoever wins gets a spot. if you don't feel like channel swapping and waiting for a new rotation. And also sometimes you should just go up and say hello to someone and ask how much time they have left. Usually they'll let you know, and you might come to a rotation, someone might be finished in 5 or 10 minutes. Usually people are pretty respectful in Hystria, especially since it's relatively easy to die to mobs. And also if you die in Hystria, you'll need a pill res to respawn inside the grind zone, or else you have to respawn outside a node or a town. Now the thing to watch out for in Hystria is the people who have no guilds. Now usually these people will flat out just refuse the Dolphin spot because they know there's nothing they can really do against them, since you can't deck them because they're not in a guild. And also if you try to flag up and kill them and they res up and kill you, you'll be sent to jail unless you are on the Astra server. So yeah, now we can go through some general tips and advice while grinding Hystria. Just a quick note, when you're pulling in the mobs, you generally want to pull them towards the Eltens or the Boltons, since they will move the slowest, and also if they do a ranged attack, it'll kind of be impossible to pull into a pack anyways. The other piece of advice is for the 2 cards, the little ball mobs in Hystria. You want to hit them with a ranged AoE ability, because if you don't hit them, they'll take very long to walk up and aggro and walk up to your pack. Now this is unlike the Lockins, the Calquishas, where basically if you just walk past them, they'll aggro and follow you. So the other thing I really recommend is to have your fairy set up for potions, or have your HP potions ready and set them to maybe around about 70%, because it is quite inefficient if you have to keep healing up in Hystria, and the mobs can hit relatively hard, especially during nighttime. So yeah, hopefully that covers everything and you guys learned something useful today. As always, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the Discord or live on Twitch. But yeah, apart from that, I'll see you guys next time and have a good one.
don't know what I'm doing. I think my life's gone to waste. I can't stop taking drugs and feeling sad about this place. My friends all in the North Coast, worst parts that I haven't faced. That now I'm all alone and I cannot escape. What will I do when the sun comes back? When the flowers are grown, when the winter is cold. What will I do when I see you again? When I don't have tears left, when I have your eyes in front of mine. I'm overwhelmed with the pain, I might not see you again. Everybody wants the key to happiness. I don't know what I'm doing. I think my life's gone to waste. I can't stop taking drugs and feeling sad about this place. My friends all in the North Coast, worst parts that I haven't faced. That now I'm all alone and I cannot escape. What will I do when the sun comes back? When the flowers are grown, when the winter is cold. What will I do when I see you again? When I don't have tears left, when I have your eyes in front of mine. I'm overwhelmed with the pain, I might not see you again. Everybody wants the key to happiness.